Es Guys, good morning and welcome to Hnews. This morning we welcome you back to the University of Bedfordshire. We discuss how you can stay safe on campus. We take a look at the new course level avatars. We think about what units you're going to be taking this year. We take some questions and provide some answers in the chat. Guys, stay tuned to find out more. Guys, good morning and welcome to Hnews. I hope everybody is well. We're going to kick off things by saying a few good mornings to people who are in the chat. So we've got Connor, good morning. We've got Muscle Active, good morning. We've got Abby Branbury, hello, with a full stop on the end. Gary Clements, good morning all, with a double exclamation mark. And we've got Alana, apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, who's also said good morning. Now, that number doesn't add up to the number of people who are viewing this morning. I'm just going to turn my microphone down so I'm not deafening everyone. That doesn't correlate very well. So if there's anybody else lurking in the background, the Hnews is not the place to be shy, guys. So please do say hello. Let me know who's watching in the conversation in the background, and we can kind of go from there. Now, I was talking to my partner, and I said to her, I was like, I'm going to be showing them Hnews, and first of all, I get it. Okay, it's a bit weird. I like it though. I used to do it at my previous institution, and I'm going to keep doing it here because I think it works well. You guys will get used to the weirdness, and we'll all become this bigger family that is all centered around health, nutrition, and exercise. And I'm all right with that. You know, a bit of self-deprecation, and we're in a good place type thing. Now, I also feel, I said to her, I was like, you know, I feel a little bit uncomfortable because I know a lot of you are experiencing a lot of problems with regards to enrollment, registration, getting your timetable, finding out what units you're on, all that kind of stuff. I am fully and comprehensively aware of lots of people's different problems. And trust me, when I say this, I am trying to sort them out. Okay. But what I would like to do, and I'm going to give you the opportunities this morning, to kind of just communicate with me a little bit more about what your experiences are in terms of what level you're at, what issues you've been facing, and how we can go about fixing those. Because at the moment, I'm struggling to find out exactly what those problems are. Now, we have a few more people joining us in the conversation this morning. We've got Beth Woods, hello with an exclamation mark. Beth, welcome to the conversation. And we've got Wildcard, welcome to the conversation. Now, As you may be able to identify, I can't actually tell who you are if you're called Muscle Active, or I can't tell what you're called if you're called Wild Cart. So there's a degree of anonymity there, which, if I'm going to be honest, please just respect that, because I don't know who you are. So if you say something that's rude, I am just going to block you from the conversation, and you won't be able to say anything further from that point. So more than happy for the engagement. I would encourage you to ask questions throughout the stream this morning, and again, this will become a weekly thing where we start to look ahead, find out what's going on in the world of nutrition, exercise, health, etc. Health, nutrition, and exercise, and we start to be, better all-round students. So we can start to think about what's happening the week ahead, and we start thinking about how we can do well in those assessments. What's going to happen next year? How do I get involved with the AFN? What's the next potential continued professional development opportunity that I have as a H&E student at the University of Bedfordshire? Those are all the things that we're going to be touching on this morning. So guys, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope that the people that have joined me this morning are all set up on your Brio sites and things like that. Now, there is a few things that I want to go through this morning, and I'm just going to line some of that content up now, just so that we've got a little bit of structure to talk things. Again, this isn't a formal teaching session. It's not scheduled on your timetable. It never will be scheduled on your timetable. It's completely optional should you want to come and view Hnews. And if you can't make the stream, if you're watching this after the fact, it's simultaneously recorded. Okay, so what that means is, whilst I'm doing the live stream, you get to interact with me if you're watching me as we speak. But at the same time, if you don't have the opportunity to watch, you can always watch it after the fact as well. The only downside to that is that you can't ask any questions directly live on stream, but you could leave a comment on the video and I'll get a notification for that to tell me that, Beth Woods has asked a question after the stream. Please can you come and try and answer that from this point onwards. Now, you may see I'm having a bit of trouble. It's been a while since I've done any live streaming for students. The last time I did this was in February this year. Then, COVID-19 happened and I haven't had the opportunity to do that. So you might see me looking between the camera and my screen. I forget you guys are there and you're not down here. So again, I'll just try and get used to that as we move forward. So what types of things are we looking at this morning? Now, first of all, I know Gary, we've met. We had a good old chat on Tuesday. It was really nice to meet you and hope everything is going smoothly. I know you had some issues getting registered, getting onto your units, etc., etc. And trust me, we're going to come to this. I'm going to get you guys to sort of share your experiences so far so that I have a good idea. But a lot of you won't know who I am. So I'm just going to kick off with a very quick introduction. I apologize to anyone who has already seen these slides, and just a little whistle-stop tour of who the hell are you, Mike, and why are you on my device this morning? So let me just change my view and we can have a quick look as to what is going on. So who am I? I'm going to give you a little whistle-stop tour as to who I am, where I've come from. I'm interested in sport and exercise science, sport and exercise nutrition specifically, and that stems from the fact that I used to be a swimmer. Up until the age of around 17 or 18, I did all right. You can see behind me there's a photograph of me just being absolutely destroyed by an Italian guy when I competed at the European Youth Olympics in Italy, in Lignano. The guy with his arm in the air, he absolutely destroyed me, but he was also a good year older than me, which is a significant thing when you're in your teens, as it were. But that's where I got interested in this health, nutrition, exercise, sport and exercise, physiology, nutrition, the whole lot. So I continued on. This is a photograph of me in a heat chamber in the University of Sydney during my undergraduate degree. I was lucky enough to go out there for a 6-month period, and I was taking part in a research trial here. I was riding around about 330 watts as hard as I could, at that fixed intensity for as long as I could, and it was 40 degrees Celsius, 50% humidity, and it was generally pretty miserable. And that got me interested in research. I was a research participant, and I thought, actually, I really quite like doing this. So then I stayed on after my undergraduate degree at the University of Stirling in Scotland. I stayed on and did my PhD up there, and I focused on looking at this kind of relationship between a dose-response relationship to carbohydrate feeding and performance. And the two photographs you can see here is me during a data collection period of a very large feeding trial that I do. If anybody looks up my publications, a lot of my publications focused on this particular research trial. It took me about a year to complete this study, and it was very intensive. You can see my participants on the bike. He's knocking back a drink. I'm holding a clipboard, pretending I know what I'm doing. To be fair, this is participant 19 of my trial. We had 20, so I was fairly up to speed with what the hell was going on at this point. But that, that's my foundation of my scientific training. After that point, that's when I moved from Scotland. I came back down to England, and I moved towards working at the Medical Research Council's Human Nutrition Research Unit. Those of you who are up to speed on what that means, that unit doesn't exist anymore. Unfortunately, it was closed down and absorbed by other MRC-funded units within Cambridge. But during there, I was a research manager. I looked after a lot of publicly funded studies in nutrition. I also contributed to the National Diet and Nutrition Survey, NDNS, of which our level 5 and level 6 students should be aware of, and some of our level 4s, hopefully, if you've heard of that. I helped to contribute to the logistics of that, helping nurses get their packs when they were doing postcode visits, etc., etc. So that's where, and I worked there for a couple of years. It was a real nice insight as to some larger publicly funded studies, and also, as a role as a manager, so logistics of trials, ethical considerations, speaking with researchers as to with regards to what it is exactly that they need to do on a trial in order for it to run, stuff like that. I did some other stuff with some other universities there, but we're not going to get too bogged down with that. I then moved on because I was like, I'm a little bit bored of sorting out everybody else's research. I'd like to do some of my own again. So I then took up a lectureship at the University of Westminster, and I was also the course leader in sport and exercise news there. And loved it there. It was really good. Spent nearly 4 years in that role, just developing my own research around carb feeding, some caffeine ingestion trials. Also did some nice novel alternative delivery modes for different macronutrients. That was pretty cool as well. I don't think we're going to get to be able to publish that, but it's a shame really, but there we are. I also created platforms like this, like live streaming for students. So I created what's called SenStream, Sport and Exercise Nutrition Stream, and you guys are benefiting from that because Hnews wouldn't exist unless I'd created SenStream at the University of Westminster. So this platform, what I'm doing here, is something that worked really well at the University of Westminster and is something that I'm bringing to the role now. And that role now is that I'm now your course leader for the BSc in Health, Nutrition and Exercise. I'm also fortunate enough to get my registrant status for the AFN. That was confirmed last month, which I'm very pleased about. Gives me a little bit of authenticity with regards to the nutrition standing. My specialism is in sport and exercise. It's not public health or anything like that. As you can see, my background just doesn't lead me to that kind of route. I created Hnews. We're going to be doing this every week for the rest of the semester, so buckle in. And I'm also a member of the iSpar Research Centre, where I'm going to start creating my own body of work specifically based at the University of Bedfordshire. So if you were wondering who I was, why am I here, why have I never seen you before, why have I never been taught to you by you before, I joined in May of this year, so I haven't had the opportunity to teach many of you or any of you at that point. If you're a level 5 moving on to level 6 or second year to final year and you have me as a dissertation supervisor, then we may well have spoken, and that's great. And for those that are moving into level 5, the likelihood is I will be allocated as one of your dissertation supervisors should you choose to be with me. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight and I've not bored you to death. What's just I'm going to have a little, I want to give you a little bit of a feel for like how this all works. So you can see that you can see my screen at the moment, but I will always refer back to the chat. So the chat is, I have half of the my screen dedicated to the stream, so I can see that you guys can actually hear what I'm saying and that I'm engaging with you. But the other part of my screen is actually the chat. The emphasis here is not to sit and listen to me for the entire stream. It's so that you have the opportunity to ask any questions and get some answers faster than you would if you got an email. And I have the benefit as course leader because I can give a consistent message back out to you guys. So if someone asks me a question, everybody gets the answer. Whereas if someone emails me, only that person gets the answer unless I decide to put it on a Brio site or a unit announcement or whatever it is. So it's mutually beneficial. You guys get access to a member of staff, the course leader, every week to ask questions and find stuff out. And I get to be able to answer those questions to everybody on the course, whether that's level 4, 5, 6, first year, second year, third year. Whether that's someone who's on a specific unit or whatever, we all get a consistent message. So therefore, it's really appealing to me as a course leader as well. So I just want you to know that the chat is open. I'm reading it throughout. If there's anyone who's joined us who hasn't said hello yet, please do so. Hopefully you feel comfortable doing that at this particular moment in time. And if anyone is sat on a question that they really want an answer to, please just put it in the chat. And the likelihood is I will come back to that in due course. So let's, don't be shy. The only way the stream works is by you asking questions and giving me the opportunity to answer them. And I will say, if I can't answer your question, I will tell you I can't answer it, but I will try and find out what the answer is and then come back to you guys from that point onwards. So any questions, slot them in the chat. Don't be shy. There's no stupid questions. Or if there's any concerns that you think I might be able to address, that would be super helpful. I can see that Ileana, I apologize if I've not pronounced that correctly, but do correct me if I'm wrong. Are we going to do courses at the UNY or still doing it online? Oh, uni. Okay. Okay. There's a great question because everybody's going to be thinking this. So I suppose it leads nicely into how the university's adjusted for things. So I'm going to show you a website as well in a second. So the question here is, are we going to be required to come on site? Now, as of today, right now, the university's policy with regards to the adjustments that are being made for the COVID-19 global pandemic is as follows. If you have a lecture on a unit, that lecture will be conducted online. So when you get access to your timetable, you will see that a unit will have a lecture scheduled and next to it, it will say online. Now, the way that the university is approaching this is that they will be what's called asynchronously provided. So what that means is, whilst I'm doing this live now, none of your lectures will be done in a live setting like this. The materials for them should be available at any time throughout that scheduled week. Does that make sense? So for example, if you had a lecture on a Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning, on your timetable it'll say the unit, it'll say 11 o'clock, it'll say this is a lecture, and it will say online. Now what that means is the unit leader will make the session available around that week. And it means that you'll be able to click on the video that you've been provided and you'll be able to watch it at whatever time you want. Now, the benefit of that session being scheduled on your timetable is that you've always got that protected time in order to watch that content. So if you don't have, if you think the flexibility of being able to watch the content whenever it is that I like is just not going to work for me, then at least you can be a little bit more strict and say, well, actually, I've got a timetabled session at this particular moment in time, so I'll make sure I protect that time and dedicate it to actually being in the session. Now, I've seen the next comment. I'm going to come to that in a second because you are not alone, Ileana. Trust me when I say that, and I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying that you're not alone in that, so just bear with me. Now, any seminars, tutorials, or practicals that are scheduled on your timetable, when you have a look at your timetable, you will see that there is a room allocation to that. And that's because all tutorials, seminars, and practical sessions will be delivered in person, which means that there will be a room, there will be a member of staff, and there will be some of your peers present in order to undertake a facilitated session. Now, if you've been on any of your unit sites so far because you've been given access to them, or you've had the opportunity to register or insert, situation here, then you should start to see that type of narrative coming from your unit leaders. They should be informing you these sessions are online, but these sessions are in person. So for example, for the level 4 students in particular who may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed, it would actually be really helpful, guys, whoever's still watching, to actually indicate what part of your university degree you're actually up to, so I know who I'm talking to. So if you're a first year, just put first year, second year, third year, just put third year. And then at least I know what kind of audience we've got in on the live session today, and then I can try and be a little bit more specific to the audience that we have. So Abby's just come in there. Abby, year 3, fantastic, Abby, thanks for that. Connor, second year, perfect. So just guys, load it up, and then I can at least see exactly who it is that I'm speaking to, and then I can be a bit more specific as to the audience that I have. So yeah, any Any first year students, so you've just joined the university or you've come over from the foundation, you'll have academic skills in next week. You will see that one of the first sessions that you do is actually a timetabled in-person session. So you need to make sure that you're on campus for that and that you're actually ready and raring to go. So Gary, hopefully you will have seen, Gary, I'm just going to pick on you, Gary, because I know that you're moving up from foundation year into first year. You'll be on academic skills with Helen as the unit leader, and she will have sent an announcement out with regards to what group H&E students are going to be allocated to. So just make sure you double check that. I can see a lot of second years, and I can see a couple third years from what I can gather as well. Let me just double check the view stats. Okay, we've got 11 viewers. There could well be the odd staff member watching in the background. If there's any staff members viewing, do say hello. It'd be nice to see if you are in the background. So hopefully that's helpful. So lectures online. They'll be provided likely via Collaborate or via Panopto. The unit leader will make it very clear as to how it is that you access that content. That's some nice feedback there. I'll come back to that in a second. Then the anything that is a practical, a seminar, or a tutorial, there will be a in-person session for you guys to attend. Now, this I'm just going to step out from the chat just a touch, and I will come back to the second point around timetabling. This is in line with how the university has made an adjustment for you guys with regards to the COVID-19 situation. So another question for people who are watching this morning: who has actually had the opportunity to come onto campus since returning to university? It just give me a little bit of context as to how it is that you've interacted with the university so far. And if any, I know Gary's been on campus, so that'd be just share that experience with us, Gary. And while I do that, I'm just going to find a quick website and I'm going to share that with you guys as we go. So bear with me. Okay, perfect. So for those guys who have managed, so I'm guessing, again, some assumptions that I'm making here. Most of you have managed to get onto this particular stream today because you've actually seen the welcome messages. You've been on the welcome site, which was actually set up for first year students, and therefore more content is on its way because I put the generic stuff in somewhere else, but that's fine. We're just working through those problems. But it leads into the fact, why have we made this adjustment? So it's not appropriate to have 100 people sat in a room because that's not going to cut it in terms of government guidelines keeping you safe with regards to COVID-19. And therefore we're able to do seminars, practicals and tutorials because the groups tend to be smaller. And if they're not smaller, we've made them smaller. So where there may have been 2 seminar groups previously, if the numbers dictate it, there will be more groups available, of which you'll be allocated to those groups by the unit leaders and by unit specifically. So hopefully that makes sense. So if you see a timetabled slot and it's a seminar, you need to know which group that you're going to be in. So approach the unit leader if you're not sure. And therefore you would only attend that one seminar slot for that week. Now, if you can see my screen behind me, our plans is to keep you safe. If you are a little bit worried about what adjustments have been made on campus, then please do take the opportunity to head across to this link that I'll place into the chat now. Sorry, just one second. I will head this. So if you want to find out more about the adjustments that are being made, take a look at that link in the chat and it will give you more information moving forwards. Now, I'm going to head back over to the chat and just have a little look at what people are saying. So, Oana, finally, a very welcome professional touch regarding the insides of UOB, lifting up the fog. I found very challenging to figure out what, how and when I first started. Thank you very much for the feedback, Oana. That's really helpful, and hopefully people are benefiting from the stream already. This is the tone we're setting for the rest of the year, and we're going to keep that tone going, and we're going to keep the weekly streams going so that people have access to find out information that they need. Now, one of the things that Ilyana has indicated is around about timetable issues. Now, again, please do make this aware in the chat. If you are having a registration problem or a timetable problem, please can you just say, I'm having a registration problem or I'm having a timetable problem or both in the chat. Now, I'm going to make the assumption that most of the people that are having problems with that are second year students. So we'll just have a little eyeball of that and see what kind of response that we get. Now, whilst you're doing that and responding to that particular question, for first year students moving into second year, as in you're about to start second year, there is a known problem with one of the units that you guys sat in the first year. Okay, so when I say that, our head of school, Dr. Andrew Mitchell, is very aware of the problem and is working very hard in the background to ensure that that issue gets resolved. Now, the way the university works is we have academics that do all of the teaching, we do all of the assessment, all that kind of stuff. That gets fed into the sport admin department, and then the sport admin department go to the student records team. Now, if there's a problem in any of that particular that travel, then that gets felt by the students, which this is what is happening with regards from level 4 students moving into level 5, so first year moving into second year. And the issue is that most second year people who are about to start second year have not been able to register or access their timetable because of this administrative issue which is holding things up. Now, I'm not saying that that's okay. I don't think it's okay, and I've made it very aware to the people that need to know that I don't think it's okay either. And as such, everyone is working very hard to try and resolve this problem as soon as possible, because the implication is that we can't invite you to register and we cannot get you to sign on to your units. And then the implication is that you can't get the information that you need for your units, and therefore you can't get your timetable and things like that. So if you're a second year student and you're having those problems, that is likely going to get resolved, hopefully today, but potentially on Monday at the latest. I'm going to come back to that issue because I know some of you might be a bit like, what? And I totally understand that, but I'm going to explain why it might not be such of an issue for you guys in second year moving forwards. Let me just have a quick look in the chat because I'd just like to see. Okay, so we've got Ileana, do we have to register for every year? Still can't manage to do it. Yes, everyone needs to register as they return back to university to tell the university, hi, I'm coming back and I'd like to do these units. Now, if you're moving from first year to second year, you have 2 option units of which do you need to select from. I did send out an email with the unit information sheets, or unit information forms for you to have a look at what those units are. So when you get the opportunity to, and you're invited to register, you will need to make a selection of one of those 30 credit units. So do bear that in mind. We've got Rover Cricket T, which I believe is Tondiri. I apologize if I've pronounced that incorrectly. Again, timetable problem. I saw your email this morning, and we're again working on that. Timetable only available through course search, no timetable through yet. So Abby's just indicating there a slightly different way of using the timetable, which I think is a nice. We're going to potentially walk through that idea now. So let's transition over and have a quick look. So if I head to timetable.beds, which is where we should all be having a look. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to course timetable here, and I'm going to filter by SSPA. You guys might be able to do this differently, but as a staff member, I get to have a look at lots of different things. Just bear with me because streaming is pretty computer intensive, so just bear with. Okay, you can filter by your level, so let's go for undergraduate year 1, and then I can find my course. So we go down to health, nutrition and exercise. Please be aware that if you did the foundation year, you'd probably need to want to select foundation year. If you haven't done, if you're just doing the straight up H&E course, then just go for the straight up H&E course. And also your professional practice year, guys, please do select the correct route. And also we have the further differentiation of whether you started in October, which is if you're joining the university now, then hello, you're one of those, or if you started in February, then you're kind of offbeat to everybody else. So there, please just choose the correct course that you are associated with. I'm going to keep it super simple, guys, and just go for health, nutrition and exercise, Bedford, October start, year 1, because that is likely to be most of our new starters. If you're a second or third year student, this shouldn't be new information. This should be very much what you've been doing for the last couple of years. Next week, we can just look at what's happening next week, and that would be helpful. I'm going to select Monday to Friday, and then I'm going to look at my working day, yes, and then I can either view this as a grid or a list. So let's have a look at the grid view timetable, and we'll have a quick look at that now. So I can see here, on Monday, we've got a 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock human physiology online lecture. Then we've got academic writing skills. Now, there's a room here, but please do, if you're doing academic skills, go to the unit site, because I know for a fact that you will be allocated to different groups, and I'm fairly certain that H&E students have been allocated to the Tuesday slot, which runs from 12 till 1:30. But I need you guys to go onto that unit site and make sure that you double check what the information has been provided at the unit level. It's not my unit, I don't contribute to it, so I'm not 100% certain, and I'm trying to gain access to that unit myself. So just bear with me on that front. So if you are not certain, Abby's suggestion there with regards to going in at the course level is a really nice idea, because it will allow you to at least identify where it is that you might need to be, and then you can get some more specific unit level information if you need it from the unit leaders, should that be the case, particularly where there's repeated sessions throughout the units. Does that make sense? So we can see here, I'm just going to head back over to the chat and have a quick look at what people are saying. Yeah, okay, so main problem is registration. I'm having registration problem and timetable year 1. I'm aware of that. Oana, I haven't received any link to register for my third year. Okay, Oana, I might need to, please, in fact, Oana, please can you just email me just explaining that with your student number in, and then I can have a look into that. Muscle active registration and timetable. Let me just double check. Muscle active, you're a second year, so you're moving into year 2. That could be explained by that first year module that's having that administrative issue, which might get sorted today or on Monday, so just stay tuned on that front. Ileana, I've started on Feb last year. Exactly, Ileana. So when you select your course for the timetable, you'd want to make sure that you select the correct course level that you want to choose. If you search through course timetable, you won't know which seminar you're allocated to. That is exactly correct. Unit leaders are aware of this problem. And as from what I understand, that you're not being allocated to seminars yet anyway. So do look on the unit level and make sure that you double check with the unit leader to make sure that that's super clear for your own circumstances. But if you don't have your own timetable, then the next best bet is to go onto the course level timetable and start to see what it is that you're roughly going to be expecting moving forwards, and then you can start to narrow down exactly what scheduled seminar or practical, etc. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a step back here, but unless otherwise stated, most of you will only have online content for the first week. Now, that won't be the case if you've been explicitly told by a unit leader via the unit site that that is not happening, that you have a scheduled timetabled slot that you need to attend. So the general consensus is that most people will be doing online only for the first week. But if there's anything that's unit specific, just have a look at that unit information and make sure you engage with the unit content moving forwards. Is this helpful, is what I would say, because I know a lot of you have been struggling with getting information out. I've been struggling contacting you, and I've been on the emails to our head of school this morning, sort of indicating that I'm actually quite worried about how difficult it is for me to contact you, and therefore the stream is providing a little bit of assistance with that. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on the stream, okay? And I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. If you guys have any further questions or you want to fill in any gaps, or if there's any issues, just drop it into the chat and I can try and address it from there. But what I am going to do is continue to go through some other slides that I want to share with you guys this morning. Now, it's been a bit doom and gloom with regards to registration and identifying, what the hell is going on in terms of what units I'm registered to. So I'm going to try and remove some of the ambiguity with regards to that and talk about some new different some new kind of developments, if you like, with regards to the course, some good stuff basically. So we're going to start with the first years because you guys are new to university or you've moved from foundation and therefore you're coming into the kind of H&E world, and that's fantastic. Welcome to the course. It's great to have you on board. Now, a couple of things that I'm going to show you. So first of all, welcome to Bedfordshire. If you are a new student and you're watching today, let us know in the chat so at least everyone can recognize your name and say hello to you, because it's, we're going to become a little bit of a community, a little bit of an entity that sits within the School of Sport and Physical Activity, and we're going to be better than the other courses. That's the general direction that we're going for here. Owan, I've just seen your question. How do you know which is the leader for the unit? To contact them. If you're not sure, reach out to me and I'll try and fill in that gap for you. But that was something that I want to add to the unit shell, to the welcome shell, to make sure that you guys know who to contact. But sticking with level 4, we didn't have many people come to the induction session, which was a bit concerning. So if there's any first year students that didn't attend that and you still don't know what the hell you're doing, then please give me an email, because we need to make sure that you're registered online, you know how to find all your stuff and things like that. So if you're struggling, please get in touch. We're going to talk about the units that you guys are doing in first year in a second. And I've also provided you all with a checklist of things that you need to be able to do before you start at the university. And if you can't do any of those things, there's going to be a problem. So if you can't access the checklist, get in touch. If you have accessed it and there's something that you can't check off, please get in touch, because I need to be able to help you guys. And if I don't know what the problem is, I can't do anything about it. But when we think about level 4, I want to introduce you guys to some new content. So for each of the levels, I've created a level avatar, and the avatar is split into these 2 distinct categories. You can see behind me, we have characteristics that make up a scientist, and we have characteristics that make up an employee. Now I have a level avatar for every single level. So level 4, 5, and 6, I refer to them as levels. You'll refer to them as years of study. So this would be first year, level 4, second year, level 5, and third year, level 6. Now, these are the different characteristics that underpin the units and what it is that we're trying to achieve at each of the different levels. So this is level 4. I'm not going to go through exactly all of the different characteristics, but I want you to be aware that the units and the skills that we're developing as a scientist and as an employee at each of the different levels are being considered. And when I think about a H&E student who's at level 4 or level 5 or level 6, these are the types of characteristics that I'm thinking about. These are the things that we want to instill in you guys to ensure that you are both adequately prepared as scientists and also desirable employees, that you're going to contribute to the workforce when you get out into the big, wide, scary world, if you're not already there in the first place, and you're actually going to have those key skills that you need in order to be successful in your professional lives. So in regards to what units you guys are going to sit as a level 4 student, you can see in semester 1 you've got academic writing skills, then you've got life cycle nutrition, we've got principles of nutrition with myself, and you've also got human physiology. Moving into semester 2, you can see those different units that you guys will be sitting there. I'd noticed that there's quite a few second year students in the chat this morning. Please let us know in the chat which one was your favorite module or favorite unit from first year. Like, which one do you think that the first year students should really look forward to, and any other reflections that you may have to give them a heads up. Please, try and be constructive, because I appreciate not everyone has a fantastic experience on every unit, because you might just not be into that type of thing, and that's totally fine. I totally understand that. I had to do, I did a sport and exercise science undergraduate degree, and I had to do a practical for a biological skills session where I had to go out in a group of 4 people and we had to measure the soil pH for 24-hour period in 3 different locations across the campus. And I wasn't hugely happy about this as a sport exercise science student, so I politely got in touch with my course leader and I said, Dr. Stuart Galloway, why am I doing this? And then he passed me on to the unit leader, and that was Dr. Tim Wally. And I was like, why are you doing this? He was like, well, most sports are played on grass, so there is a bit of applicability there. And I was a bit like, Tim, I think we're stretching that applicability just a touch. But I've used a pH monitor since then, so that swings and roundabouts and stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. Let's move it on to level 5. So I know about the registration issues. You guys are confirming that in the chat, and trust me, I'm trying to get on top of that with regards to it, making sure that the senior members of staff of the department need to know about that and that they're finding out about it so they can do something about it. I'd be curious to know how many people have made a decision with regards to Rover Cricket. Yeah, I don't. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. Fairly new member of staff, so I'm not sure of all the practicals. But from looking at the units and the sessions and the schedules that you guys have, the practicals that you guys experienced during your undergraduate degree are considerably more applicable than what I did during my undergraduate degree. But there we are. So there's a big win on that regard. I did do my undergraduate degree a few years ago now, but there we are. Second year students who are still watching and in the chat, I'd be curious to know exactly which unit are you leaning towards with regards to the two option units. So let's just have a look at what those option units are and how they sit in on the grand scheme of things. We'll come back to the avatar in a second. So you'll have public health nutrition. Now I'm formally the unit coordinator for this, but we actually have a new member of staff, and I'm going to dig out his details in a second. Because he's worth sharing, because he's an exciting member of staff and he's a real positive addition to the team here at Bedfordshire, so we're going to talk about that. You've also got advanced applied exercise practice. Then one of your option modules, 30 credit, would be physical activity and health interventions, and then your other choice would be applied health psychology and public health. So I can see just coming up in the chat here, we've got muscle active human psychology is very interesting. I think you're reflecting on the first year units there, which is fantastic. And yeah, everybody else is being a bit shy, which is absolutely fine. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the split's going to be. If you're not sure, again, I've placed the unit information forms on the welcome site, so please do go and take a look at that if you get the opportunity. Now, again, if you're curious to know what scientific skills we're trying to develop and what employee skills we're trying to develop, do go and take a look at the level 5 avatar and see what characteristics it is that we're trying to build on. So we're less about learning the baseline knowledge, we're less about developing communication skills, and we're now talking about how do we actually use that body of knowledge to achieve things. So to critically analyze, to identify gaps in the literature, to use different theories and be creative with that application of knowledge. And then when we move into those professional skills, we're talking about how we can start to do stuff with those. So we're less about our awareness and more about its actual applicability moving forwards. Connor's come into the chat there. Let's just have a little change of view and see what's being said. Oops, sorry. Connor's come into the chat there and says still need to have a look at both units. Do take a look at those unit information forms. Again, if you're trying to be strategic as a student, maybe have a look at the assessments as to what assessments are on each of those units, because you might find that you may be swayed by a particular unit depending on the assessment type that's been put on it. From memory, I can't quite remember what they are, but do take a look at those and see whether you have a preference based on the assessment type, which may lean towards more your skill set, or if you just want to go, actually, I'm just totally interested in psychology, or I'm totally interested in the physical activity stuff, then obviously your decision has already been made in that regard. So that's fantastic. Okay, let's head back over to the slides. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the level 5 units. And you can kind of see what's going to be happening, what you should expect in semester 1, and then moving into semester 2. We're not going to talk too much about semester 2 just yet, because, you know, that's an entire sort of few months away, so we're not going to get too stressed out by that. Now, I've not added the text here. That's embarrassing. Level 6 students, the biggest focus for you, I'm just going to go back over to my chat view because I clearly am just not doing a great job on that front. The biggest concern for you right now is to make sure that you continue that relationship that you have with your allocated dissertation supervisor. So you will have put in your dissertation proposal before you broke for the summer. Hopefully you've been thinking about that over the summer period, and you've been thinking about what fantastic ideas are going to go in place and how you can start to appreciate a given data set or come up with a project or whatever it might be. But do continue, reach out to your supervisor, ask them what the next steps are, engage with the unit site, which is the dissertation unit site, and just, you know, start being proactive about that. Because if we have a look at those level 6 criteria, we can start to see that one of the characteristics, particularly from an employee perspective, is that you're acting with minimal supervision. So it's almost like you're going to be telling your supervisor, Mike, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to move on to this next section first. Could do with a little bit of help on this. Have you got a reference for this? Because I want to try and do this moving forwards. You see how that mentality has switched from being kind of unsure about what techniques to use and what professional skills that you have, and actually taking a direct role into actually being responsible for your learning and taking responsible for the outcomes of your own achievements, which is kind of the direction that you want to go in with that regard. Thinking about the units that you guys are doing, so you'll either be on one of two distinct pathways. You'll either be doing a research dissertation project, or you'll be doing a work placement, and that differentiates the year-long 30 credit unit that you'll be doing. You'll be seeing a lot of Julia Frewer, Dr. Julia Frewer, Senior Lecturer in Health, Nutrition and Exercise, and you'll be dipping into some of those higher level 6 units moving forward. Oana's coming in on the chat, as she's just said, from my understanding, we'll have to choose either dissertation or work experience, right? I'll be honest and say this is a question that I need to just take a bit of a step back from, because from what I understand, you come in at a you come into the university with a specific degree outcome. Now, I'll be honest and say I don't know off the top of my head, and it's something that I just need to get clarity on moving forward, because I've had a lot of other issues to deal with. But I'm going to take that question away, Oana, and just double check with some colleagues, and I will likely put up a message on the discussion boards today, or potentially even over the week, not the discussion boards, on an announcement, just to clarify that, because I need it clarifying for myself as well, because I can see entry routes that are dictated by whether you do dissertation or professional placement, but I also see that there are option modules, so I need a bit of clarity on that. So Oana, I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to take that as a question to take away with me to answer as a result of today's stream. So I will be honest with you guys when I've got a little bit of a knowledge gap, so just bear with me. Okay, perfect, thank you. Right, so excellent. Okay, perfect. So hopefully that gives you all a bit of a let's just have a bit of a chat, because hopefully it gives you all a bit of a better idea and a bit of a better feel for exactly what it is that you're going to be doing this semester. If you're not sure about, I know there's registration issues, I know there's timetable issues, but I've given you some mitigation there with regards to trying to identify where it is that you need to be and when. Again, I am not saying that this is okay. I don't think it's okay, and I've expressed that where it needs to be expressed is what I would say. So I am fighting your corner, and I do recognize that it's not okay, and my job is to make sure that you guys have a great experience and that you know what's going on. So when that's threatened, it's for me to step in and try and do something about it. So please rest assured I'm trying to do something about that to ensure that you guys have got the information that you need moving forwards, because I'm your voice in the university, and I will make sure that I shout as loudly as I possibly can, because H&E students, we're at the top. We're going to be great graduates, and we're going to do a really great job moving forward. So, but I would say that if you have a unique problem, you feel uncertain, you need clarity, please, if I don't know about it, I'm not going to find out about it. So you need to reach out and get in touch with me and say, Mike, I'm really concerned about this. Please, can you sort this out? And we will try and do something sensible about that. So all that leaves me to do, guys, is to just, again, sit back. I'm going to open up the chat and talk a little bit about, I give you a chance, the opportunity to just maybe ask some questions that you're not quite sure about, or what are the things that we're going to be covering this year. Whilst you guys are filling in some questions there, I'm just going to have a quick look in the background. So if you've got a question, ask it now, because I'm going to start wrapping up the stream sooner rather than later. So if you've got questions, submit them. But in the meantime, I'm going to come across a Twitter page that I just want to share with you guys. So within the field of sport exercise science, sport and exercise nutrition, health, etc., there is a very large community of professionals on Twitter. So I'd be curious to know if anybody has a professional Twitter account, or whether someone has a Twitter account that they use for their own purposes. I use Twitter quite a lot. I will pop my handle into the chat just now if you wanted to follow, and you can see some of the borderline interesting things that I have to say every now and again. Excuse me. So I'm just searching for an account that I want to share with you guys. It's asking me to tweet, but I absolutely don't want to do that. Okay, it's just loading. I'm asking a lot of my computer today. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, right. Let me get this up so you guys can see. I've seen a Okay, I've seen a message. I will definitely come back to that. Just something I want to share in the background. So this account here, let me just share that with you so that you can just hop on it should you wish to do so. This is a AFN Nutra. So it's a monthly Twitter chat moderated by 4 AFN UK voluntary registered nutritionists. And I think it would be hugely helpful for you guys to start having a look at what they're doing here. So recently, every now and again, they have a online Zoom call. They had one last night, unfortunately, and if I'd known about this, I definitely would have put it out there. I'll come back to that. Sorry, I've always got one eye on the chat, so I like to see what's coming in. But essentially, it gives you the opportunity so we're an AFN registered course, okay? So what that means is when you come out at the end of your degree, you will be eligible to become an associate member of the AFN's register. That's because you've demonstrated a minimum threshold of knowledge by passing your degree, which indicates that you have a level of knowledge that is in line with that of an associate nutritionist. So not a fully registered nutritionist, but an associate member. Now that helps to differentiate you within the jobs market, within the general society, that in actual fact that your opinion and your voice on nutrition is above and beyond that of just someone who eats 3 meals a day. And that's important when you're trying to differentiate yourself within a jobs market. Now, the next step from that is using that particular entity for your own benefit. So to be able to network, to be able to meet different nutritionists, to be able to meet people in different fields. And one way of doing that is by coming and getting involved with these guys and signing up to their online AFN Nutra chat Zoom calls. So if you're interested in that, have a look at that Twitter link that I just put in the chat box. Head across and sign up to one of the things. And when you if you do have the opportunity to go and chat to them on their Zoom calls, all you need to say is, "Hi, I'm Mike. I'm from the University of Bedfordshire, and I'm studying health, nutrition, and exercise. I'm a first year, second year, third year student, and at the end of it, I hope to become an associate nutritionist, with hopefully a view of becoming a registered nutritionist when I have a sufficient amount of experience." And therefore, your foot in the door, you're meeting lots of different people, and you're talking about nutrition and other health, nutrition related things that may be of interest to you moving forward. So that's our kind of continued professional development, stepping outside the university kind of look at this week. So hopefully you'll find that beneficial moving forward. I do intend to put a little bit more information with regards to AFN and also some Nutrition Society stuff on the Brio Welcome Show. So do take a look at that when you get the opportunity. Okay, let's have a little look at what people are saying in the chat. Let's have a look. Sorry, let me just get over there now. Okay, so Ionel, sorry, I can't pronounce the name. Ionella, hi. When do we have the first? When we have the start for first year? Thank you. Okay. Ionella, I think what we need to do is get you in a position where you know where to find information. So if you're starting at first year and you're not quite sure what to do, please can you reach out to me on an email, because I'm not going to solve that problem right now. So the first session that you guys are going to have, it looks to be academic skills, but I'm going to show you how you get on your timetable. I'm going to show you how you identify that information on the units so that you feel more adequately prepared to take control of your own situation, because I ain't going to be able to do that on the stream live today. So please reach out and we'll try and do something about that. Abby, perhaps because we had a dissertation prep / ethics application as a mandatory unit last year, end of year 2, the work experience versus dissertation is optional in year 3 as opposed to determined earlier. That's helpful, Abby. Again, this is a my ignorance issue rather than anything else. I just need to get clarity before I start saying things definitively. As far as I'm aware, yeah, let me get some clarity. I don't want to say specifically on stream, live, recorded, all that sort of stuff. I just need to reach out to another member of staff, find out what the answer is, and then I'll provide that answer in the welcome shell so that you guys get the answer from there. But thank you for giving your viewpoint on that. I think I'm aligning with that as well, and we can kind of go from there. So I think I think we're kind of there, guys, because we're going to kind of call it quits there. Now, first of all, hopefully you've kind of recognized there's a bit of a new look and a new feel coming around. Now, I'm very passionate about this idea of creating a community and creating a bit more of an entity that isn't just at the university level. So yeah, you're a student at the University of Bedfordshire, great. So are 14 other thousand people at the university as well. You're a member of the School of Sport and Physical Activity, fantastic, but it's not course specific, and therefore, you know, you could be a football studies, you could be a education and sport, you could be a sports science student, or any other lesser degrees than H&E. So what I want to do is we are health, nutrition and exercise students, and we're doing things pretty well here. We're going to graduate as professionals, and we're going to do a really great job. So that's the new look and feel is something I'm very passionate about. It gives you a space, it gives you an entity, an identity to recognize with. So when you see that logo, you know that it's part of your course, it's part of your identity, it's part of who you are and what you stand for. As is Hnews, you know, I'm going to be disseminating how to do live streaming to other staff in the university, but just be aware that this is unique to you guys. It's no sport and exercise science. See you later. Get out. Not interested. This is health and nutrition and exercise stream, and it's only by invitation only, and it's only for you guys moving forward. So hopefully you see the benefit of that you recognize that, you know, there's something more to be involved with here, and that you're part of H&E, you're part of Hnews, and there's something going on there. So hopefully you're starting to get a little bit of that sense. The more that you get exposed to this sort of stuff, the more that you'll feel like that. The more that I'll be honest, the interaction we've had on the chat this morning has been fantastic. Like, I used to sometimes have to get blood from a stone from some of my master's students at Westminster. The amount of chat has been really great, guys. And again, when we do the stream next week, we'll be looking ahead to week 2, when hopefully a lot of these registration issues and all the timetable issues have settled down, and I'll start to look at some key things that you're going to be doing across the units at different levels. I can't do them all because that will be really boring for everybody, but I'm going to pick out the odd unit here and there at each of the different levels to see what it is that we're going to be doing next week. When you start coming into assessment times, for members of staff who feel comfortable, I'll do a little bit of an interview with them and say, how can my how can my second year students do well on public health nutrition this year? And we're going to take a little bit of an opportunity to do that. Similarly, get the dissertation projects leader in, which I believe is Louise. Get her online and say, Louise, how are my students going to do well on dissertation on their dissertation this year, and we'll kind of go from there. So the more you interact with this kind of stuff, the better it will be. I will always place the video on the unit welcome site so that everybody has access to it. I need to start to have a look at everybody's timetables myself across the levels to see if there's a particular time that works for you guys. I kind of arbitrarily chose Friday at 11 o'clock, but it may well become a different day. So hopefully moving forwards, we should be in a better position to be able to kind of all get together, have a really good, nice chat, and hopefully see the benefit moving forward. So I see Oana and Connor have given some really nice feedback. Really appreciate that. Thank you. It just kind of confirms that it's not just a vanity project. It's actually really helpful for you guys. So I really appreciate the feedback. The invite went out to about 70 people today. I don't think there's quite 70 H&E students, so I'm curious about that. But please tell your peers about it. Go and look at Hnews. It was great. I enjoyed it. He talked about this, gave a little bit of clarity on this. Fantastic, really helpful. If you guys start sharing those links and stuff, that would be really helpful. So with that in mind, guys, my apologies once again for the registration and timetable issues, but please rest assured that those are being worked on in the background, and I'm trying to push from my side as well to make sure that there's clarity moving forwards. Take the opportunity to try and look at your timetable if you've already been given one, and if you haven't, then make sure you search by course and choose the right pathway for you, and then you've got at least a rough idea of what's going on. Once you are able to register, make sure you select the units that you want to do, and make sure you choose them so that you're customizing your degree and customizing your experience. And if anybody is struggling or needs further assistance, then please reach out and I will try and do my best to get that sorted out for you moving forward. So thank you once again. Thank you for your interaction. I will send out a link ahead of the stream next week. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great weekend, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all around campus in the weeks to come. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Take it easy and goodbye.